So you're a family and you're thinking about getting your first home and your budget didn't really reach the way that you thought it would. I'm here to help you. My name is Kevin Lightman. I'm a manufactured home dealer in Northeast Ohio. My family's been in the business for 50 years. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about an option that you have when you're starting a family. You'd like to get a home, you want to get out of that rent race, but you don't know what to do. And I'll start with this. One of the most discouraging things is when you start looking for stick-built homes, you're looking throughout your neighborhood and around the surrounding areas, and you get that pre-qualification letter, it is not what you expect. And then you start looking at homes, especially starter homes for a new family, and the work starts piling up, right? Like you might find a home, hey, right price point, looks pretty good, but then you have to fix this, the roof is falling apart, appliances need to be replaced. And you start with this laundry list of things that, as a beginning family, you do not want to deal with that. You don't have that extra capital if there's an emergency. You can't just pull things to a repair and say, oh, forget about that. You need something that's ready for you and ready for your family right now that you can grow with, that will also help increase your options. So that is why I love manufactured housing. I think it is the option when you are starting a family and you're trying to get those roots down and you're trying to get out of renting. This is the option that's going to allow you to open up your future options. Here's how it works. You start with a manufactured home in a community. You're going to pay lot rent, and a lot of people tell me, oh, I don't want to pay lot rent. I'm already renting an apartment. Why would I rent land if I own the home? You do that because when you own the home, you start building up your equity, right? So let's say I'm going to use round numbers just to make this easy. Let's say that you buy a home for $100,000 and your down payment is $10,000, okay? So now you have 10% equity in a home, and every year as you pay your mortgage, that number is going to be increasing. And a $100,000 manufactured home is typically a pretty great starter home. You'll probably have at least 3-bed, 2-bath kind of layout. You'll have space for a growing family, and you'll have a good quality home, something that if you maintain and you keep up with it, it should appreciate along with the market. If it doesn't depreciate, it's usually because the market itself is struggling. So it's going to follow that housing market pretty closely. And your goal should then be, let's find a good manufactured home community, one that's trustworthy, one that's been around for a long time, one that runs smoothly. Typically, you want to avoid those like large corporation type communities, but one that you know is going to hold value just because the community itself is desirable. And if you find that combination, well, there's your starter home. Now you give it 5 years or give it 10 years. And at a certain point, you're going to be into that 25, 30% equity range, possibly even more. Now, if you think about that on a $100,000 home, you're talking 25, 30,000 that you've built on your own just by making consistent payments and taking care of your home and taking good care of it. So now when you look at your next home, 2 things happen. One is your credit score is better because now you have an actual track record of not renting, but owning and paying into that mortgage. So it really helps your credit score in that way. But then the second part of that is you are going to have that equity that you can pull out from a home sale to now use as a down payment for your next home. So if you're looking into it right now and you're saying the only home that would really work for me starts at 350, 400,000 in my area, which some starter homes that are in good enough condition to be move-in ready, you might be looking at that range. And maybe you don't have the down payment for it yet. Even if your credit score is decent, even if your monthly payments are good, if you don't have that initial startup, you can't really start on private land and on one of those nicer stick-built homes. But you can start in that manufactured home, build up your equity, build up your credit score, and now after 5 to 10 years, you might have $35,000 to $50,000 worth of equity saved up. You sell your home, you use that as your down payment, you buy the new home, and now you are not only where you want to be, but probably nicer than what you expected. So it's a stepping stone, and a lot of folks that join our communities, that's what they're doing. We have a lot of young couples, young families who are buying in our communities knowing this isn't my permanent option. But I'm going to be comfortable and safe in this community. I'm going to enjoy my home because it's new. It's on warranty. It's very low maintenance, but I'm also going to be using this to sell, to upgrade to private land. Now, when you get to that point, maybe it's 5, 10 years down the road. Maybe now you've had a couple kids, maybe more than a couple. I have 4 children, so, however you plan your family, it can happen pretty quickly. And then you've got that equity, you've got that credit score, and you can make your next decision. And you might tell me, well, okay, I've been in this manufactured home community, haven't been able to save up a lot of money. Work has been tough, life has been tough, but I still have the equity from this home. I don't think I can afford the $350,000 stick-built home. Well, another option you have is if you find private land, you can now move that home to private land. You still own the home, but now you can get away from the community and start building on your own land and on your own property. And I've seen folks do this where they'll take their starter home, they'll ship it to their private land, and then they start building expansions onto it. You start cutting out walls and building another room off to a side. You build a garage, you build a shed, you build storage. You build things on the property because now that's your land and you can do a lot more with it. So if you've done your starting point right and you've saved money and you've built equity and you've built a credit score, all of a sudden these options become open to you, whether it's selling that manufactured home to buy a stick-built home on private land, or taking a manufactured home and moving it to private land and starting something fresh and then being able to build and expand onto that later. Or even selling your manufactured home to buy a new manufactured home or modular home on private land. There are so many ways to make this work. I think the only thing that doesn't really work for families is renting indefinitely and hoping you'll save enough. I think anybody that's watching this video, if you've got some life experience, tell me in the comments if I'm right, but I think that's typically what happens. We say, oh, we'll just save up, and then buy the home that we want. And then a medical emergency happens, and then a car breaks down, and then a job position closes. Things happen and they start stacking up, and all that savings that you hoped you had are never going to be as much as you truly want. So instead of waiting for that perfect time and renting in the meanwhile, get ownership, get into a manufactured home community, find a nice home within it to the best of your budget ability. And then once you've saved up that equity and you've shown that you can pay a mortgage and that you can be on time and your credit score looks phenomenal, now you go to that dream home that you've always wished for. It's a great way to take those steps. So if you're starting a family, if you are a young couple, congratulations to you. I wish you the best, and I hope to see you in a manufactured home soon.